Thank God. Well, the basic meaning of agriculture is the activity of clearing a land, sowing appropriate seed, and if need be, help the growth of that seed with organic or inorganic fertilizer, and pray for God to put rain on top of that product, or use irrigation to make sure that the seed germinates and it brings forth fruits, which at appropriate time you will harvest. And it could be corn, soya bean, cocoa, cassava, yam, sweet potato. Essentially, that's agriculture. But agriculture, as I explained now, going around the nation on workshop for an arm of government, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, agriculture can be broken down into three sectors, at least the agri supply chain. We have the upstream, the midstream, and the downstream. The downstream is where our mothers operate, or even some men, in terms of a wholesale market, supermarket, retail market. The upstream is where the farmers do what I've just defined, the activities of the farmer. Fertilizer, plowing, clearing, sowing, harvest. The midstream is where we begin to transport those harvested products into the downstream, the wholesale market, whether from Boko to Lagos or from Nasarawa to Port Harcourt. And of course, involves packaging, processing. In general, the midstream is the value addition stream of the supply chain. The way it's practiced in Nigeria and Africa in general, we are way behind time. We are way behind time in terms of proper storage facilities, in terms of packaging of fruits, even in terms of harvesting appropriately. I've seen people that go and harvest vegetables at midday in the heat of the sun, which is wrong. Because vegetables are highly delicate. So they need to be harvested around cool time, like 5, 6, and then be ready to, within an hour or 2 hours, into the packaging processing center. So we are lacking behind in terms of that proper packaging. We are lacking behind in terms of proper transportation. You don't transport highly perishable items like yam, cassava, tomato inside a metal trailer, traveling for almost 2 days from the northland to Lagos. Because if the vehicle breaks down along the way and you have to go and look for spare parts some miles away, the heat of the sun on the metal container of the lorry will semi-cook, parboil your tomato, onion, yam. You will probably lose, and we are losing almost 20 to 45, 50% of our produce after post-harvest. And it's costing us roughly about 3 trillion annually. So in the other climates, it's better stored, it's better transported, it's better packaged. And then even in the wholesale market, it's not put in heaps, like they put heap of yam, 100 yams or 120 yams, put it in heaps, in open sun. I don't care whether the wholesale market is at Kaduna or at Port Harcourt or in Lagos. Everything is in the open sun. It still suffers a lot more. The way it's practiced in Nigeria is a far cry. And I'm sure the rest of Africa is the same. It's a far cry from the way it's practiced in better climes. Yeah. I thank God for one thing. When I was turned down at Firo for that job, simultaneously a thought came to me that unemployment situation will worsen in future in Nigeria or anywhere in the world. And I did not want to envisage a situation where I have to be begging job for my children. So I was bold. And I made a statement to myself, why can't I be a game changer? By creating wealth for my next generation. So thank God today, my children are grown up. I have one running the US operation. I have another two running the European operation. My wife is the MD of the Nigerian operation. And me now, at my age, they just put me on top of chair and say, sit down there, you are chairman. Means just sit down the look. But they have to contact me occasionally for ideas, for inputs, for things like that. So that's the way things are run now. Well, I would say the initial challenge for me when I was starting, I think that's, we'll say about 36 years ago now, and it will always be the same challenge for anybody that wants to start up business, is capital financing or funding. Bank will not give you money if you are starting business because you have no history with the bank. And if you have collateral, well, you are lucky. But if you have none of those, you have to pull resources from friends, family, friends, relatives to start. So I give you an example of myself and my wife again, right? That's one of the challenges. The other challenge is, especially in Nigeria, is our infrastructural deficiency. We don't have good roads to move produce from one source to the other. And so that increased the cost of production, obviously. Because the vehicles that will charge you will say, the diesel cost is this, or the repair is this. So therefore, the cost of that is there. Interestingly, another one is, let's take yam, for example, for making pando yam. I'm the first to ever make pando yam. So any pando yam you now see in the world, the credit goes to me, at least in terms of popularization. Don't let me say that. Eng.Olu Muyiwa, he was a professor at University of Ibadan. I was actually simultaneously, when he was doing that at Ibadan, I was doing mine at Firo then. But obviously, he came up with the package first. But in terms of popularization of the concept of pando yam, I will say that goes to me. But what I'm saying is that if I'm a small starter, I know by normal economics of production, I should go to the farm gate to get my raw material. But because of lack of capital, I will resort to going to the open market or the wholesale market. And the danger in that is that there are certain species of yam that is good for making pando yam, to make it white. When I go to the open market and I say I want this type of yam, they will have put the right type in front of the heap and put the wrong one hidden. So by the time I take it to my factory, I'll find out that I'm producing some yams are brown, some are dark, some are white. That's danger. The honesty level between buyer and seller in Nigeria is very low. And of course, we have to talk of NEPA, almighty NEPA, isn't it? And because they have been irregular for ancient of days, you have to resort to generator. That increases your cost input. And then, of course, you are transporting things from, I don't care whatever you're transporting into, whether even Ibadan to Lagos or Kaduna to Enugu. You see all these police checking points, which is for security, but they become a toll gate. And the transporter put those costs on you as a producer. All these things made the cost of production very high in Nigeria. Those are the major challenges. Apart from that, you can add security issues. Then for my operations in overseas, my first challenge that I learned a hard lesson was the first container of palm wine that I shipped in 1987 When it landed at the port, they charged me £14,000 for a product that was only worth £2,400 because of wrong labeling. In Nigeria, we are calling that palm wine emu. People know emu, okay? But because my overseas partner wants an English word that the average English can relate to, we put palm wine. This is not palm wine. It's just a fizzy palmy drink. So on that basis, the customs at the UK port said, oh, you are importing wine out of European Union. So we will charge you customs duty and custom tariff and excise duty. I have to start pleading and tell them that calling it palm wine is a misnomer. That is, this thing is collected in the morning. It's draining in the morning. The guy goes in the afternoon to collect it and put another collection pot there. In between, what we call the wild yeast will have attacked it and it will start fermenting. It's not as if I fermented it for myself. They decreased the duty down and VAT down to about 8,000. And so because of that high price, the price we've told our customers that we're going to sell it changed. And so the demand for it dropped. That's how I ended up being a kapu driver in London. Well, Eng.Olu Industries Nigeria Limited, we started out as Eng.Olu Winery. And that time I had a shareholder from California and I have Nigerians. One of my shareholders, my uncle, has passed away now. But because of the acrimony that I referred to earlier on and backbiting and jealousy, pet jealousy, that company collapsed. It was then I registered Eng.Olu Industries. In fact, my intention then was just to be designing and fabricating machineries for industrial purposes. But somehow I got gravitated back towards fruit processing. So I went back again to my palm wine processing. And so I learned a hard lesson then. I thought I learned a hard lesson. Can you believe also that when we started selling well in the US at one point in London, I formed another company called Afro Plan Limited and brought out shareholders. Mostly Nigerians, Again, I don't know what is wrong with us. That company had to go bankrupt. So I formed my company, Yem John Ventures in London, in UK. And then I started another company. I brought shareholders to the Eng.Olu industry in Nigeria again about 15 years ago. Again, noise, indecision, personal interest. So instead of allowing that one to collapse, I just decided I'll pay the directors off. Maybe it's not in my style to cooperate with Arsenal people. It will be me and my family. So the directors are now myself, my wife, and our children. And I've not had any headaches since that time. Whether the company in the US or the company in London or the company in Nigeria. Oh, definitely. In fact, that's what I'm doing for this. I'm a resource person to Nigerian Export Promotion Council on minimizing post-harvest losses through agro-processing of our agricultural produce. And I even go one step further to make it easier for undergraduates and retired civil servants. I've come up with a design which they urged me to come up with then as an engineer, whereby you practically don't need generator, you don't need NEPA to start processing agricultural produce. Because look, the main things we do with agricultural produce is to increase the shelf life, really. Because when you package this as pado yam now, and it can be on the shelf for 9 months, I cannot put raw pounded yam in this bag and it will last for 3 days. So the essence of value addition is to minimize those losses along the agri-value supply chain. And in doing that, there are two principal ways that humanity has known to preserve or increase the shelf life of produce, either removing water or what we call conditioning storage. Refrigeration is a conditioning storage, where if you open your tin of milk, you don't consume it, put it back in the fridge. If you cook stew and you can't, that's conditioning storage. And all you are doing is arresting the activity of bacteria, spoilage bacteria, what have you. The other way is to remove water. Okay? Whether you do cassava fufu, whether you do the kilishi, whether you do stockfish, pala, all you are doing is removing water so that it will not get spoiled. You will increase shelf life. So, and like I said, when I did my research and presented the paper to the agency of the government, we found out that we are losing almost 3 trillion on tomato. Can you believe Nigeria is the #1 producer of yam in the world, cassava in the world, taro, cocoyam, and I can go on. #1, #2, #1. Share nut, share butter, share this. But you cannot find us in #1 to 20 in the export market. If you are #1 in something in the world, at least you should be noticed internationally. Ghana is #1 in yam export. The yam that Ghana produces is not even up to, is almost the same as just one state, Benue or Nasarawa. So, what's wrong with our youth when there's a 3 trillion naira opportunity? Although, let's salvage those wastage by just removing water from them. Either you dry onion, you dry tomato, or you dry pepper, or you dry ugu, or bitter leaves, or you can even dry fish to make stuffed fish, or you can smoke it. Why can't you dry cashew? Cashew is a silent gold mine. But you find the Asians taking our cashew raw from us to go and process it in their own country. They even now go to the farm directly. Instead of using Nigerians to go for them, they are going now to go and get it cheap, cornering our farmers and browse-beating them on pricing. So what are the youth looking for? I hear them tell me, I'm into oil and gas, sir. Okay, so where's your company and how much oil are you lifting? Say, no, I'm working. Some of them even think working in petrol station is oil and gas. Some of them, I said, okay, what are you doing? Say, I'm a politician, sir. And I laugh, you're a politician. How many people will go to Abuja for senator? 109? How many people will go to, what do you call it? To National Assembly? 700, is it up to 700 something? We have millions of youths. It's either they want to be politicians, they are to oil and gas in their mind, or they are into yahoo. When there is 3 trillion, can you imagine, sir? Let's say the federal government come up with a policy and say, okay, we are losing this 3 trillion. Let's target to save in the next 5 years just 1 trillion out of those 3 trillion. And the federal government now calls on all the states and said, which state will be interested in partnering with us to get our youth engaged in saving these 3 trillion naira post-harvest losses? And let's assume only 10 states are interested. All right? So 10 states are interested. That means there's a potential of 10 billion, 100 billion per state. All right? And let each state go and look for 1,000 SME that they can incorporate into that program. That means each of those SME has a potential to turn over 100 million, 1 billion. 100 billion divided, no, 100 million. Simple arithmetic. We are not saying they are going to achieve that immediately, but even turning over 10 million is a big deal to a guy that is going to roam the street. This is potential for our youth or intending retired civil servant. So the dryer that I invented is a commercial solar dryer. There is one called the farm gate one that you can move around and be a dryer contractor. I can come to your farm and dry your corn. I can go to our farm and dry her sesame seed. I can go to this one's farm and dry her cashew. That's business. Or even myself, I can dry onion and turn it to onion powder. Why are our youth saying there is no opportunity? You can export yam if you do it appropriately. You can pack, my biggest making money is on plantain chips. What's the big deal about frying plantain? You peel the plantain, you slice it, you put inside frying oil, and you pack it. You find this in 4 continents of the world. And I'm still talking about the midstream, the value addition to the midstream. Because that's where you create wealth for yourself and for the next generation. I've never been a farmer. Although I own farms now, I go to inspect. But as a young engineer, without taking that job at Firo, I just went to the midstream of agri-values, agri-supply chain. And I started adding value. Adding value is simply adding process, changing from one form to the other. And God has blessed me and my family through that. And I started as a youth. I don't know what our youth are waiting for.